So today we are going to paint this paint your reference painting, and I'm going to use supervision layered paints. I really like them because when you splatter water on them, they really shine through with their you know layers. So I kind of enjoy painting with them. So we'll paint this one right now. I will try to keep it within 20 minutes, and yeah, let's get started. So I'm gonna take my paper. So the idea behind this tutorial, why I'm doing this as a tutorial and not just as a video, is because there are a couple of things that are a bit challenging, and I would like to touch upon those points as I paint. So I don't want to kind of talk early on, but as we paint, I'm going to talk about it. So I'm going to draw the horizon line first. So I'm going to draw it here. There's a mountain, and then there is the sun is right here. And there is one disappearing mountain here, and then there is so I'm quickly sketching out so that I don't have to guess later what am I going to do next. So we can improvise while we're painting, but this is pretty much it. So the first step is my wet on wet technique that I always talk about and I always do use, but we are going to paint around the sun first. So I'm going to be very mindful of how I wet my paper. If you're painting along with me, or if you have any questions as I paint right now, please do drop in your questions. And so you see, I just went over the sun right now, and what I can do is okay. Now while this is going to be absorbed, I'm going to try and mix my colors. So the beauty of this reference is that the sky is cloudy, and it has a blue tone as well as like a peachy pink tone. So for that, what I'm doing is I'm mixing Naples yellow red, Naples red, yeah, Naples yellow red. Wait a minute, I think my brush has a blue in it. It'll make it muddy. I'm going to mix this color. You can also use shell pink. This is another option if you don't want to use you want to use a pinkish tone already. What I was initially planning to do is mix Naples red with a little bit of opera pink to get this pink shade. and then as you can see, we're just going to drop at places. So this is what I'm going to do. And as we go down, the pink color is more prominent. So I'm not having too much water in my brush at the moment while I'm painting because my paper is wet. I'm going to increase the pink tone. You can go dark while you're painting, because it'll dry lighter. So you could actually, and also Naples yellow is a bit, I would say, a bit opaque. So you may not have to layer it much. I'm just trying to flip over to see the reference because I did not paint on this side. So this is pretty much what I want to do with this. I might go in once again to drop the paint here on the top to make it even more prominent while it's still wet. And now we're going to mix the blue, which is going to be a little bit of gray blue. So I'm going to use neutral tint with cerulean, and this is the color that I'm going for. Hi, I hope you like what I'm painting here. I'm painting this reference in case you missed it earlier. So this is, I'm going to mix a little bit more in quantity so that we don't have to go back and create more pigment while we are working on our background. I'm going to just swatch it once more. Yeah, I like this color. And when you want a little more gray, we'll mix the neutral tint on the go. So my paper is still wet, you can see, and that's why I don't need to worry about blending much. The water will do its thing, and we just have to work with it very sparingly. My brush doesn't need to do much here. Just need to kind of drop paint and it will take care. The water will bleed. It's okay if you're getting any blooms because once it dries, it'll be all right. So yeah, I think this is pretty much what I want for the sky. Now if you are having any hard edges or anything that you think you are struggling with, you can go in with a damp brush and kind of lift the paint or move it around a little bit. If you try to mix a lot over each other, you may end up with a muddy color on your sky, which you don't want. And you can see how I'm lifting my excess water here. That's because there's a puddle forming and there's a little bit of warping happening here. And I might have to go back in with my peachy shade. That's it. And now I'm going to color the sun. So you don't need to color the entire sun. What we're going to do is just color the rim of it with transparent orange, or if you have Indian yellow or any other yellow that you have, Gamboge, Hansa yellow light, any yellow will work, just on the rim. And then once you're done, just run your damp brush so that it doesn't show like the paper white. And then once the paper is completely dried up, we are going to go about and paint once again on the rim of the sun. I'm using a creamy consistency paint. There's not much water because I do not want it to bleed and bloom here. I'm going to quickly dry my paper before I come back for the next layer, and then before that I observed that there is a white patch here, so I'll just correct that. And the advantage of having wet paper is just that whenever you go back in to fill those dry patches, there won't be hard edges. So I'm going to just be back. So this painting, this reference is part of Paint Your Style Challenge, the challenge that I've been running since 2022 on Instagram. It's a weekly challenge. It's not a giveaway challenge. So you are highly encouraged to participate, because I recommend this also because beginners want beginner friendly references and are constantly looking for companionship and community. We have over 200 participants who join us every week or every other week as and when it suits their schedule. And it's a beautiful way to stay connected with beginner artists who share the same mindset. So it's called Paint Your Style Challenge. It's You can find it on my Instagram page. The past references are on my highlights. So do check it out and see if that interests you, and um, if you'd like to participate. Now I'm using the Supervision Arts layered paints. This is their blue tone paint. I'm going to just now go and cover the mountain here. So I'm going to just, this is layered, and the beauty of this paint, I'm going to show it to you here. If you look at this, it has an undertone of green, and it is also blue. So if I kind of add water here, you will see the undertone is green. So it is going to perfectly suit this painting, because you can see in this reference, oh my god, if I turn it over it's going to spill, but they are like mountains which are in different levels of grading. So I think this will be lovely for this kind of layered paint to be used. I am just taking the paint off my palette and running it across, because there is not much details required here. Now I'm going directly with the creamy consistency paint and dropping it here, because I do not want it to bloom, but at the same time I want to show the gradual change. Like this was far, so we are trying to create distance, right? So the closer you are to a certain thing, the more details you see and the more darker it is. So I'm trying to create that sense of distance. And the last part is the green color for the grass. So I'm using this green, which is again layered green. I want to show you that as well. It has an undertone of yellow. Let's drop paint and see what it shows. It is so pigmented. I just love doing the dry brushing with this paint. I have not used layered paint earlier. I always mix my paint, so this is the first time I'm using them. I'm quite enjoying them. I'm going to add the reference in link in the description later, so that you guys can check it out. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing the blue with the green to deepen it. So just dropping it to create like the sense of unevenness of the grass. I think this is pretty much it. Now I see the white lines here, so I'm just going to go with my damp brush and try to blend it. And there is a bit of sun hitting the mountain, so this should be a little on the pinker side. So I'm just dropping in the peachy color that we had created, and then going back with my blue. I think it's more green, so I'm going to go in with my cerulean blue color and then drop it down here so that it blends well. And this part I wanted a bit darker, like I mentioned, so I'm going to go back in. I'm doing the dry brushing again because the idea is to not create like a monotone, or you have to create some kind of unevenness in the nature, because there will be grass, there will be bumpy stones and things, so we can't see those details but we can feel it. And to make it felt, I try to create that dry brush stroke where you get those uneven lines. I also want to go darker on the green, so I'm going to continue and just deepen the color here. And that's about it. The last, before I dry this layer, I think there was a disappearing mountain here, which is like a very faintly appearing in the reference. So I'm just going to go with most diluted blue, just kind of make it like a feeling rather than just painting it too dark. So yeah, this is it. Now I'm going to dry this layer and come back to paint the tree. I'm not trying to dry the whole paper because I don't think I need any to work on any other spots except the tree. So I'm just using my neutral tint. I will probably mix a little bit of green in this. For the foliage, so here, and then a little bit of one moment, this is my red maroon for the tree trunk, and then a little bit of neutral tint so that it becomes a little darker. Yep. And then I'm using silver black brush number 6. It has a great point, so it really serves well when you're painting tree. Now when you're painting the tree, try to keep your hand at a distance and try to flick the brush. Something like you don't essentially need to draw them, but just a little bit of flick in the end works. And there is not much that we need to do in this reference because we will paint the foliage on the top, but just so that it looks natural. Don't draw like lines, but try to suggest lines. Now I'm painting sideways with this brush, but you could, if you have a smaller tip brush, you could, you could do like poke it on kind of a thing. That action works too. Take out all the excess water from your brush so that you don't end up with a puddle. Like if you don't want it to look a certain way, then use your tip when you're towards the top. Now deepen the color by dropping the darker shade. You want it to look like a three-dimensional tree and not a flat tree, so make sure you have like both tonal values. I'm going to give it a minute before I go back for my sun. So here is my yellow. Go back in. And then I'm going to run my damp brush across. I think it'll look much better if it's a bit orangey, so I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna on the bottom. I'm going back to check my reference. So yeah, I think it is pretty much done. We can do is create a few rough edges and lines here. Similar thing I would probably do this one section looks a bit flat, so I'm going over it with another layer of blue. That's it. And then I'm going to deepen this color a bit. So I'm going to go in with cerulean blue and neutral tint to deepen this. One moment, I want to show it to you. So this part I want it to be a little darker so that it distinguishes from the previous or the back mountain in the background. Though I like the layering, I want it to be more prominent, if I may say so. So yeah, here is what I'm doing. I'm going to again add a little bit of green here because I think it could use some dark color. Yeah. A few more branches so it doesn't look like it doesn't belong. I mean, give a little more definition to the tree is what I'm doing. If you have any kind of white, just add a little bit of white on the tree trunk on one side which is facing the sun. I don't have it, so I'm just lifting the paint a little bit, and then I'm going to color it on the sides of it to add depth. So that's it, and that is our paint your style painting. I'm going to take out the tape and then sign it. So give me 1 minute, I'm going to dry and come back. Sorry, I forgot muting, but this is what it looks like. I quite like it. I could do with few birds around here, so I'm going to add a few birds. This is not the brush I would like to use. If you have a brush which has such a good tip, you could essentially do the entire painting in the single brush. You don't need too many brushes. One single good brush could serve you well. I highly recommend the silver black brushes because they are my go-to brushes for my everyday painting. Yeah, so we're kind of done here, and just adding a little more of the foliage to give it some more dimension. Let me know how you like it. Will you give it a go? Do you want to try it? What kind of references you enjoy? Please let me know. Also, if you would like to check out, I have my course on watercolor oceans and lakes, which is open for registration at this point. So if you want to go deeper into how to paint clouds, how to paint in layers, and how to paint moving water, um, It's live right now. I will add it to the description. Go check it out and see if that works for you. If that's something that interests you, I'd love to have you in the course. And we at this point in time, for the next 2-3 days, I have live demos added to the course, which is a limited time offer only for the people who register before Feb 28th. There will be live demos on Zooms where I can give you guidance and feedback directly on the call. So if this is something that is you're passionate about and you want to learn more and get deeper into it, I'm very very um, happy to have you in the course, and I would love that. So that's another update. And then we just wrapped up a challenge which is called Blank to Beautiful, where we painted clouds in 4 different ways. We painted um, a landscape. So I'd like to share. So this is the landscape we painted on a live together. This is this is the reference that we painted in the challenge, from Blank to Beautiful. And then we went over a lot of basics in the course, like what is the different consistency of water, what is how do you paint reflections, how does dry brushing look like, what is tonal values. So we did discuss a lot. We did washes in different ways, flat wash, gradient wash. So that challenge is free, and it is in my courses, also a playlist. So if that interests you and if you'd like to join us, it's live right now. Go ahead and check it out. I will link that also in the description box for you to check. So thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you next week again on the Friday so we can paint another reference. Thank you.